I think while David is actually drawing, we can actually start the Q&A. So, is there anyone from the audience with questions?
David, what's your opinion on webcomics?
I think it's a great opportunity, a great medium. I think comics are such a fertile medium and so big that so many different people can do them in such unique and different ways. I like that. I kind of call comics the last pirate medium, in that you don't have to have, if you're going to be on TV or do a radio show, you have to have like a license. There's the FCC. There's all these things involved. A lot of things with other projects, you sometimes need a big enough budget that it's, creative decision by committee. But, for comics, just one person can sit in their basement or their attic or on the bus or wherever you're at, and you can write and draw a comic, and then you can put it on a web, you can put it on your social media, or you can staple it together and go to a comic show and sell it and potentially reach a lot of people from an idea that comes just from you. Like that's one of the magic things about this medium, I think.
Hi, David. With all this stuff going on right now, with all the characters and stories being based from comics, MC and the rest, I just got this news right now. Mack would do a Daredevil movie with Christopher Nolan directing it. What are your thoughts about it?
I haven't heard about this. What, is it true? But Matt Damon is playing Daredevil? Oh, so that's not going to happen. Christopher Nolan's, both of them are very competent, creators. But I'm so happy with the way they're doing the television show. I'm really looking forward to season 2, and I kind of have hopes that, I have the Echo character. It'd be great to see her show up in season 3 or something like that.
Hey David, with regards to Echo, because you mentioned her, what was the inspiration for creating her, and did you felt any pressure that made, because basically she's going to be compared to Elektra and all that. What are your thoughts on that?
When I started writing Daredevil, I asked Joe Quesada if he wanted to draw anything in particular, or if he wanted me to write anything in particular, and he said, totally write the story that you want to write. But he said, I asked one thing, to create a brand new character in the story that's unique to Daredevil. He said, like so many other characters in Daredevil, which were borrowed from Spider-Man or the same couple people over and over. And I thought about it, and I thought one of the interesting things about Daredevil is his relationships with female characters in the story. And Daredevil himself is, because he's blind, he does have extra senses, but I did have a sense of him when I was writing particularly that he still has a certain isolation or disconnect from a lot of the people that he interacts with, even when he's friends, just because he experiences the world so differently in such a unique way, and he's constantly piecing the world together based on all of his other senses. And I also thought that all of his different female relationships that he's had over the years, I felt like he's been able to connect to these different characters in maybe one or two ways, but there were still a lot of gaps of how he didn't connect to them in other ways. Like he connects to Karen Page in a certain way, Elektra in one way, but not in others, Black Widow in another way. And so I thought it would be interesting. Echo, for people who don't know, is a character who grew up deaf. And so she also experiences a certain kind of isolationism as a child and had to learn how to piece the world together visually. So she doesn't have the audible world, which Daredevil depends on quite a bit. But she spent so much time as a child putting together every minute detail of visual imagery that she's able to cultivate a certain pattern recognition and kind of see everything visual, every kind of visual movement, or every kind of visual pattern recognition as a kind of language that she knows and can understand. And I thought, that would be really interesting for Daredevil and Echo to connect to each other because they both feel isolated they're both they don't have access to certain dimensions that other people have access to, and so they might still relate to each other in that. And on the other hand, sometimes they'll often be missing each other completely because one depends on sight and one depends on sound, and the other doesn't have that. And I thought that would be a really strong dynamic. I felt like they would both be really strong personalities with strong points of view. And as a writer, sometimes all it takes for a story is to take two or more people with extremely strong points of view. You don't have to say who is right or who is wrong. Just give them a strong point of view, a strong way of seeing things, and a strong motivation, and put them next to each other and see how they interact. So that was my idea for it. And it's also interesting. I do get like a lot of response to people who connect to her because they're deaf, or they are part of the deaf culture, part of the deaf world, and connect to that. And then I get a lot of people who are, she's half Native American and half Latin, so there's a lot of people who relate to her from that point of view as well. But she's one of those characters like Daredevil who is able to, who feels like many of us do, that we might be different than a lot of people, or we have some kind of thing about us that we interpret as a flaw or a liability. And they were both able to take what other people might consider their flaw and turn that into an asset.
David, what motivated thing you could say about continuing art? Like, if you feel like having an art block or something that would stop you from making art, or keep going, or something like that.
Yeah, the trick is just to do it. I've been doing it long enough that I developed practical applications for keeping that momentum happening. One thing is I'll be working on one project, and while I'm working on that project, I will still have so many ideas for other projects. Like whatever project I'm working on, my head, is probably, you have to battle this, you have to get certain work done, and when you have to do that, you feel a kind of resistance at the same time. You always have to have discipline to battle that resistance. And one of those things are, you'll want to procrastinate. Every time you're doing a project, you'll think of all these other things you could be doing, and you have to know you're going to war with that. You have to know that, okay, I'm sitting down, I'm going to do this, but there is an email, and there is a text, and there is a TV show, and I should exercise, and I should eat the donut, and there's all this other stuff that's going through your head, and you have to realize, like, you have to get that out.